Okay, so today we're going to dive into a technology that's, well, it's quietly making AI a whole lot smarter, way more accurate, and something you can actually rely on.
So, have you ever caught an AI just confidently making things up? I mean, we've all been there, right? You ask something like ChatGPT a question, and it spits out this answer that sounds so convincing, but it's completely, totally wrong. Well, that little problem has a name, and honestly, it's one of the biggest headaches in AI today.
It really all boils down to two huge flaws with large language models, LLMs. First, you've got this thing called hallucination. That's when the AI just straight up invents facts. And then there's the knowledge cutoff. This one's a biggie. It means the AI's knowledge is basically frozen in time based on whenever it was last trained. It's kind of like trying to find out today's news by looking in a dusty old encyclopedia from 1995.
And look, this isn't just some funny little quirk. The stakes here are incredibly high. Take this example. When Google first demoed its AI tool Bard, it gave a wrong answer about the James Webb Space Telescope. Just one little mistake, and it reportedly contributed to a $100 billion drop in the company's stock value. $100 billion! That's the kind of real-world high-stakes impact we're dealing with.
Okay, so how on earth do you fix a problem that big? Well, the answer is actually surprisingly elegant. You give the AI an open book test. And that brings us to the star of the show today, a technology called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or as everyone calls it, RAG.
So what is RAG? What does it actually do?
Well, at its core, RAG is a way to connect a language model to an outside, up-to-date source of information before it even starts to write a response. Just think about that. It's like giving the AI a live, constantly updated library it can check anytime, making sure its answers are actually based on real, current facts.
And that open book test analogy? It's honestly the best way to get it. A standard LLM is like a student taking a closed book test. It can only use what it's already memorized. But an LLM with RAG? That's like the same student getting an open book test. Before they even write a single word, they can look up the answer in a textbook to make sure they get it right. It's a total game changer.
All right, so that's the big picture. But how does it actually work? Let's take a look under the hood.
It really breaks down into 4 simple steps. First up is indexing. This is where you take all your documents, your knowledge base, and chop them up into little searchable pieces. Step 2, retrieval. When you ask a question, the system zips through all those pieces and finds the most relevant ones. Now, step 3 is where the magic happens, augmentation. It takes those relevant pieces of info and adds them right into your original prompt. And then finally, step 4, generation. The LLM gets this new, supercharged prompt and uses it to give you a smart, fact-based answer.
And this diagram right here, it lays that whole process out perfectly. See? The user's question comes in on the left, which kicks off the search for the right documents. Then, those documents get bundled up with the original question, and that whole package gets sent to the LLM. Out comes the final answer, now grounded in actual facts.
And what's really cool is that this tech is already evolving. That simple 4-step process we just walked through, people are starting to call that naive RAG. The cutting edge is now advanced RAG, which adds some really clever steps into the mix. For instance, it might rewrite your question to be better for searching before it even starts. And then, after it finds the info, it can re-rank everything to make sure only the absolute best, most relevant facts get passed on to the AI.
So this all sounds great on paper, right? But is anyone actually using this stuff in the real world? Oh yeah. Let's check out how some really big names are putting RAG to work right now.
And the use cases are all over the map. I mean, DoorDash is using it to give their drivers better, more accurate support. LinkedIn is using it for customer service. Harvard Business School, they literally built an AI professor chatbot with it to help students. You've got Vimeo using it to summarize videos, Grab using it for fraud reports. I mean, the impact is already huge and it's happening everywhere.
And we're talking about real, measurable results. Just look at this number from LinkedIn. After they rolled out their RAG system, they saw a nearly 29% drop in how long it took to solve a customer's problem. That's not just a small improvement, that's a massive boost in efficiency.
Now, it's important to know that RAG isn't the only way to make an AI smarter. There's another big method out there called fine-tuning.
And honestly, understanding the difference and when to use which, that's a huge strategic decision for anyone working in this space.
So let's put them side by side. With RAG, the knowledge is external. It's like a plug-in library. So, updating it, super easy and fast. You just add a new document. With fine-tuning, the knowledge is baked right into the model's brain. That means updating it is slow, it's expensive, and it involves a whole retraining process. And think about this. With RAG, your private data stays separate and secure. Plus, you can easily point to your sources, which is absolutely critical for building trust. With fine-tuning, good luck trying to figure out where an answer came from. It's pretty much impossible.
This chart here really nails the difference. Look at the vertical axis. That's how much external knowledge you need. The horizontal axis is about how much you need to change the AI's basic personality or style. You see fine-tuning way over on the right? That's for when you really want to change the model itself. But RAG, up there in the top left corner, that's your go-to when you need to pump in a ton of external facts without messing with the core model. It's the perfect tool for knowledge, not just for style.
So that brings us to the big question. What's the future look like for RAG? Is this a permanent fixture in the AI world, or is it just a clever stepping stone to whatever comes next?
You know, I saw this quote on Reddit that just perfectly captures this whole debate. The user, Jason Athens, said, "RAG is suspiciously inelegant. It reminds me of how Netflix had to mail DVDs before the internet was good enough for streaming." How great is that? It's just a brilliant analogy. It paints RAG as this super smart, totally necessary, but maybe temporary fix. And at the end of the day, that's the question we're all left with. Is RAG the future of how AI learns and uses knowledge? This flexible, secure, fact-based system? Or is it just that clever bridge, a brilliant workaround we're using while we wait for the streaming version of AI to arrive? The answer to that, well, it's probably going to define the next entire generation of AI.